My name is Dr. Darlene DeHaan, also known as Dr. D. I am the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for the Bridgeton School District. As you know, this pandemic has greatly impacted how our students are taught. Some districts have decided on a 100% remote type of instruction and some type of hybrid model. Either way, our special populations like special ed and ELs are greatly impacted due to the supports that are needed for them to receive an equitable education so that they can also be academically and socially successful. It is more important now than ever to be able to identify your English language learners' level of language acquisition so that you can apply the proper strategies so that all of your students are experiencing success in learning. This webinar, ELs and Remote Instruction, provides strategies and resources to aid each and every teacher who has the responsibility to teach this population of students in a synchronous, asynchronous, or a combination of both environments. I hope that you enjoy the presentation and you walk away with a tremendous amount of strategies and resources to help you give your EL students the best education possible in this remote environment. ELs need continuous opportunities to read, write, listen, speak, and participate in order to develop the English language. This requires a variety of acquisition-rich hands-on experiences which aid them in building both their BICS, which is their basic everyday language, and their CALP language, which is their academic language. But this success depends heavily upon the degree the students experience these concepts, but the remote learning environment greatly impacts our ability in offering these experiences. So we have to ask ourselves, how do we successfully give them what they need? This is the core of this webinar, to provide each of you with strategies and resources that you can implement immediately. So for the purpose of today's webinar, I have selected 6 strategies of the many, because there are a tremendous amount of strategies to focus on. Let's begin. The first strategy is make it visible. I cannot say that enough. Visuals are key in teaching ELs, especially the students in the first 2 levels of language acquisition, which is the pre-production and early production. You can use images and pictures as much as possible. That includes videos and teacher demos and photos in order to explain what you're doing. Perhaps you never thought of the fact that you can use those for vocabulary words, agendas, and schedules. Did you ever think that perhaps those students in the lower levels of language acquisition don't understand the schedules that they're going to be getting online, right? And their parents might not speak English well enough to help them? Use visuals in creating their schedules. Also, allow ELs to respond with drawings, images, and video. The whole purpose that we have in teaching is to be able to gauge the degree to which the students understood what we taught so that we can, in a reflective practice, figure out how we can improve our instruction. ELs, depending on the level of language acquisition, may not be able to express that verbally or even in written form. But that does not imply they didn't understand it. They just can't communicate that to you in those two ways. So consider allowing them to use drawings, images, and video to express and to show their level of understanding. Why make it visible? ELs need to see and experience what they are learning as much as possible. That's how they learn the second language. It reduces anxiety, it increases comprehension, and it reduces misconceptions. I'm going to show for you 3 online tools that can help you do this. Okay, the first one is Pixabay. Pixlet is an awesome program that allows the students to use parts of speech and pictures in order to express their knowledge. So let's say, for instance, we use one, say, of the mountain. So we're going to use this one for the mountain. As soon as it comes in, there we go. And you might ask the students to use words to describe it, or you might ask the students to create sentences using the words below. All that they have to do is click on the word and drag it up on the screen. So we might want to use the word blanket. We might want to use the word dark or contrasting. Maybe you want them to make a sentence where they can say let's do a noun, mountain has, I'm just making this up as I go, a peak. And then they can save it and send it to the teacher. But that is Pixlet. Another one that we have is the whiteboard app. The whiteboard app turns any surface of a tablet, a electronic surface, I should say, a tablet, a cell phone, a computer into a whiteboard. So what I did was I truncated a video so that you can see it. Here it goes. The students would receive a code. Then you as a teacher can see all of your students and their responses. Very easy to clear it, and you can present them with another problem. That's Whiteboard FI. And the next one that I want to show you is Pixabay. For whatever reason, PowerPoint is not allowing the link, so I'm going to have to go out and come in, so I do apologize. So just bear with me for 1 second because I have to come out. And we are going to continue recording. And where's my Pixabay? Here is my Pixabay. So this is Pixabay. This one here is on I used the American Revolution. You can see the pictures here. And you can also, if you want to, put in math. And then it gives you a lot of math pictures. Now do notice that here on the top, you can purchase them if you wanted to purchase them, but there really is no need because there is so many. Matter of fact, you can see here that there's 7 pages. If you wanted to, you could have put in something for science, or let's be more specific. Say you wanted to know organic chemistry, and then it ties it down to that you can see a lot of the molecular structures. So you can really narrow it down. That's the beauty of Pixabay. So I'm going to go back into the presentation, and let's go where we were, and we're going to do the slideshow from the current. Okay, and I have to switch my settings. I do apologize. So that's Pixabay. So those are 3 ways that you can show the students visuals, as well as a way for the students to show you visually what they understand as well. The second strategy is Scaffold academic language. This is a biggie. Scaffolding is a biggie. So why Scaffold academic language? Academic language is one of the most difficult to learn. The BICS is the everyday language. CALP is the cognitive part, so it's the academic language. Why Scaffold? Scaffolding helps ELs use new terms properly. And remember, we always want to scaffold with visuals as much as possible. Another way that you can scaffold is by using sentence frames. So you can use sentence frames such as these. So you have an ELA sentence frame and you have a math sentence frame. And all it is it's a sentence with words removed, where you can provide them with a word bank as a scaffold to insert the words in the blanks to make sentences, whether it's for the math or whether it's for the ELA. Another thing you might want to consider is what I term picture frames. Okay? And what picture frames are is that you use pictures to help the students match definitions with words. So that is one way that you can do that. Also, we have breakout rooms. Okay, we are in this remote environment. Utilize the ability to create breakout rooms. Zoom has it, Microsoft Teams has it, that you can, and I'm sure the other ones do. Those are just the two that I'm familiar with. So you can create breakout rooms in your district's video conference program, but I do want to provide you with a word of caution. The students who are in pre-production and early production stages, I would not recommend at all in putting them in a breakout room. The reason being is pre-production students are in the silent phase, which we're going to talk about momentarily, and they generally point yes or no. Not even yes or no, they point or they nod. So to put them in a breakout room would not be productive. Keep them with you. Early production students, they may, but I would not advise in moving the first two low stages of language acquisition into a breakout room. I would keep them with you. Why scaffolding? EL and small groups is because ELs need to practice English with others, okay? And also a smaller group setting may make them feel a lot more comfortable, where they'll be more willing to take risks. So let's look at different types of scaffolding that you can do, and we're going to visit the sites. So here we have scaffolds for listening and reading, and we have scaffolds for speaking and writing. This also goes across mathematics, and it also can be inclusive for science as well, not just limited to those two, reading and writing and speaking and listening. So we have adjust the playback speed to 0.75. So you might not realize it, but you can actually, in YouTube, go and change the speed on the settings bar. We also have using closed caption in slides in YouTube. And what that looks like, if we click on that, it actually shows you how to use the video manager and how to do subtitles. But I also want to let you know that you can also do it just from right here. You go to your settings tab and you can do your playback speed right here. And you can pick different levels of speech, and that changes how slow or how fast that the person is talking. You can also do your subtitles, and you can also choose your language. So you might want it to auto-translate, and by auto-translating, then you can choose the language that you want to have the video translated to. Okay, even though the gentleman will be speaking in English, the subtitles will be in Spanish. On the other one that I showed you, you actually create the subtitles. So if you want them to be in Spanish, you can do that as well. We have record presentations with Screencastify. I already have these extensions on my computer, so mine will say already installed. But what it is students and yourself can easily record, edit, and share videos. And it is an extension that you add on to your computer. Pixabay, I just showed you Pixabay. And then we have feedback with talk and comment. And this website here, it's also an extension. But what it does is it lets you create videos and notes inside any device on the web, that you can actually create notes with that for the students and for yourself. Found for translate with any text with one click. So if we go there, once again, it is a extension that you have to add, but this is what it looks like. So you would do your article, and what it does is you highlight what you want it to translate. You can translate it into the language of your choice. So let's see how that works. So I picked up this thing on why does it rain? Of course, it's going to be science because that's my comfort zone. You highlight it because once you have it installed, you just need to right click and right here translate into text. And I want it into Spanish, and it translates it using Google Translate into Spanish, and the student can hear it.
Dentro de una nube, las gotas de agua se condensan unas sobre otras.
So that's how that works. So that's something that you can use as well for translate with one click. Then we have Mercury Reader, and what it does is when the kids are reading anything online, it actually removes all the extra ads that you see in the article. You might actually like this for yourself, but it removes any of the ads to take away from distractions and getting the kids off track. So once again, that is an extension as well, and it will remove all of the extra ads. Okay, so let's just talk about how we use Mercury Reader. So Mercury Reader is a Chrome extension that removes ads and distractions, leaving only text and images for a beautiful reading view on any site. You can change the typeface, text size, turn on the dark theme for a more comfortable reading at night. So that is Mercury Reader. Then we have Immersive Reader in Flipgrid. Immersive Reader in Flipgrid, what it does is it takes the reading for the students, and it could be for a struggling reader, an early reader, EL student, or someone who simply needs a little assistance, and it makes reading and understanding easier because it reads each one and then highlights the word and then breaks it down into syllables. October. So it actually can break it down so the kids can read it, which is extremely beneficial. Remember, this is all a part of visuals. Then we have use voice typing. Voice typing is when it's a add-on as well, and then as you speak, it types it out for you. Google Translate, which I just showed you, just go to Google Translate, you can copy and paste. So if you're having students give you work in their language, you can actually copy it, paste it into Google Translate, and translate it back to English so that you can understand what it is. Another one that we have is storyboards. This one is another one that gives me a little bit of trouble, so I'm going to have to unfortunately come out. I'm going to continue recording, and then we're going to talk about Canva, which I have right. Where's my Canva? Here's my Canva. I'm sorry. So you can use Canva. Canva is free as well. You can choose a topic. In this case, I'm choosing a infographic, but you can choose from tons of articles. So if you want to say click new design, these are all the things that you can have the kids do. There's infographic. Maybe you want them to create a business card, a photo collage, a brochure. But these are the different activities that you can give them that they can work on. So let's just say we're doing an infographic and you're doing a topic on, let's say, the ecosystem. You might want them, I'm going to use this one. Then you can also edit on top of it. So if you want to now say ecosystem, and you see it's too big, it's not fitting nicely, you come over here, let's take it to about, let's say 96. Maybe widen it a little bit so it all fits on the page. And then you can have the students after this point change everything. They can add, they can do uploads if they have uploads of pictures or descriptions that they want to use. There's photos already included. There's elements. I'm working on the left-hand side over here. There's text where they can use this to demonstrate their learning. That's a good way. Then we have, sorry, I have to go back to the slideshow from the current spot, and I'm going to have to flip it. So we have that one. That was storyboards. And then we have whiteboard and Flipgrid. So it's the same thing with Flipgrid, which is video, but it allows also allows you to convert everything to a whiteboard. So once again, the students can write on it, very similar to the other one that I showed you. And then last but not least, we have Read and Write. Read and Write is an awesome program, and whether you know it or not, there's a Read and Write and there's a math version called Equate.io. They are free to teachers, absolutely free, and not the reduced version, but the premier version, full packed. So one of the things that it does is study skills, text-to-speech, talking dictionary, picture dictionary, vocabulary list builder, word prediction, translator, and voice note. It is awesome. And then for the math, you can actually talk, and it'll copy everything you're saying. So it listens to the voice. It gets rid of the ums and the oohs and the ahs or the pauses. It eliminates all of that and just types what you see. So let's look at that one. I have to come out again. So this is how to use read and write. We'll just listen to it for a few minutes.
Hi there. Today we're going to see how read and write can help when you're using Google Docs or just browsing the internet. Okay, let's start by seeing what we can do in Google Docs. Here's the purple read and write icon at the top of your screen. Click on it and this toolbar appears. First of all, let's read some text out loud. Put the cursor anywhere you want. Click play and it starts reading like this.
Honey is a kind of sugary syrup.
And you can stop at any time. Pick a word, like this, and use the dictionary to explain what it means. And there's a picture dictionary right here too.
So as you can see, it's very, very powerful. So I want to show you that power. So I picked this article from Times Kids, and you can highlight it, do everything that the video just showed you that it can do. But if you click on the ellipsis and go to options, you can see you can use check it. You can use a prediction if they want to predict, and then they can write what their predictions are. You can hover over the speech that it will read for them. There's the dictionary, there's the play, but check this out. There's the language. So you can also change the language and the features into Spanish. You can do screen masking and the color that you want to use and how the background is. Prediction. Like I said, you can do the text size and the kids write. So it's very, very powerful. And right now it is free. I'm not sure how long it's going to be free, but it is 100% free to teachers. Continue recording. Sorry, but it doesn't want to cooperate with me, so this is what I have to deal with. All right, so those are some awesome resources that are readily available that you can use immediately. Let's go to our next strategy, and our next strategy is build upon their first language, don't replace it. Allow ELs to ask questions and discuss with others who speak their language. Okay? Why? Students will feel more connected and engaged in the class when they can contribute to it. Because otherwise, if they're not talking, they're just sitting there being a recipient. And that's not engaging. Buddy them up into a buddy system so that students can feel more connected and engaged. But you want to make sure that the language level of the students that you're budding them with is at least an intermediate level to advanced. So this way you know that they understand what they're saying and they can also translate it into English. And then you can go to the buddy and say, what did they say? And then they can engage back and forth, but you can make them a part of the class. Okay? And this is also a great strategy for the younger students or students who may not be able to read or write fluently in English, or maybe they can't even write fluently in their first language. But do not tell a kid not to speak their language in the class, and not to speak to another kid in their language in their class. And I've seen a lot of teachers do that. Do not. That is a very phenomenal and strong strategy. Embrace the silence is our fourth strategy, and I say this to you because students who are coming here right out of another country who are going to go through the first stage of language acquisition, which is the silent phase, pre-production. And I want to also explain to you that there are 5 stages of language acquisition, and we skip none of them. I don't care what language you're speaking. I don't care how old you are. You don't skip the stages. The only thing that can alter is how long you remain in the stage, but you will go through every single stage. So embrace that silence. Because that kid isn't speaking doesn't mean that they have needs. They're learning disabled. It doesn't mean that they're being rude. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. These are the things that I've heard over the years. That's just the phase of language acquisition. But trust me, they are listening and learning. And also, once again, use the buddy system so that they can be involved in the class. And get a resource for online translations. Google Translate, which I just showed you. I Translate Voice is another great one, as well as Reverso. Those are great online translations. Second to last but not least, is to avoid Polycymous words and colloquialisms. Polycymous words, I might be showing my age, but you might want to think of Amelia Bedelia when she took everything literally. So if I remember reading a book to my kids when they were younger about Amelia Bedelia, and she was told to dust the furniture. She's like, I think that's odd. But she did it. She went and got powder and she dusted the furniture. So be very, very careful of Polycymous words, and also be very, very careful of colloquialisms. When you're given instructions or when you're speaking to the students in the class, be very careful about using colloquialisms, and if you do, please explain what it is so the students will understand. Last but not least is a virtual toolbox. The virtual toolbox can be a folder that you create electronically where the students can place into it vocabulary pictures, favorite sayings, dictionary. Have a dictionary for them online. You can find, there are lots of them online, bilingual dictionaries, and also Google Translate. But have this place where these students can put these resources that they can easily retrieve when they need them. To recap what we just did for the last almost 30 minutes is how can we differentiate the instruction to include our EL students. For the content, home language, if you can speak that home language, that is awesome, okay? But try to get it some way that some of their home language is in there. Put words around the room that have the vocabulary words. Engineer the text, create the text. Look at some of the resources that you are provided with. Can you translate them over so the students can have those words in their language? Choice, let the students use choice and connect to the students' culture. That is a great resource as well. It's in a strategy, I should say, a strategy to use. Other ways you can differentiate the product. Use a video or one of the other visuals. Hands-on products, that's going to be very difficult in a remote environment, but if you're in a hybrid type of schedule, the day they come in or the days they come in, make that the day for hands-on learning for them to produce their product. Text in the home language. You have the resources now. Presentation with a partner. Remember, the first two stages, do not make them present in front of the class. Give them another way to do it. But once they hit the third stage, which is speech emergence and higher, presentation with the partner. Even if you give them a buddy, the first two levels of language acquisition, do not have them present in front of the class. They will not participate, and they won't know how. And you're going to defeat them more than help them. As far as ways to differentiate the process of which the kids are going to learn it, teams, breakout rooms, right? Partnerships, buddy system, technology, you have a lot of those resources now, as well as preview and review in the home language. But all of this, you must also know the student's level of language acquisition so you know what to do with each student. As far as tech is concerned, during synchronous learning, share your screen, visual, and walk the students through the process so that they understand the expectation and how to use it. Have students download an assistive technology program that can provide text reading assistance such as Read and Write, and the others that I showed you, and the others that are out there that I have not. Less is more. I'm going to repeat that. Less is more. Too many links and features can be overwhelming and frustrating, and many parts may become missed, so pay attention to that. And finally, providing a supportive online environment with strategic scaffolds will not only help your ELs, but most of all of your students, including those who are struggling, so that they can get the most out of the synchronous lessons while simultaneously becoming more comfortable and confident in learning a second language. Thank you, and remember, take it slow. You will not cover the same amount of material online that you would have covered face-to-face. Expect at least to slow down by half. So if one lesson, 1 point, or chapter took you 6 days, anticipate that it might take you now 9 to 10 days to cover the same material with a 100% remote environment. I hope you got a lot out of this and that you enjoyed this presentation, and I wish you the best of success this school year. Thank you.